In this lesson, this is lesson 4 of the masterclass training. So I always start by saying, those who have not watched the previous lessons, the link of the videos are always on the description of these particular videos. And please, I will appreciate it whenever you watch the videos, you comment on them. You can comment on them to ask questions, and don't forget to always like the videos too, please. Alright, for this training, we will start by opening documents in Photoshop. So I've already opened my Photoshop. This is it you see in front of me. Now I will walk you through 4 to 5 different ways of opening documents in Photoshop in general. So to open a document in Photoshop, you just want to go to the top, both on Windows and on Mac, File. You go down to Open File. Sorry, I was on another menu. On Photoshop, you go to File and you go down to Open. On Open, you click there. This page will pop up. Then you search for where you have saved your file. Now you remember from the introductory video, the first ever video I made on YouTube, I put the link of exercise files and documents to be downloaded. So for those who did not download, I would advise you to go back to that video, click on the link of that exercise file and download them, because we will be using that exercise file throughout this video. Let me just go to my computer. This is it, exercise file for training, for free training. So I'll open mine, and inside the exercise file, I go to the first one. You see I've titled it from 1 to 10. I go to the first one, open image. I enter there, and you realize there are 3 documents here. Now I want you to take note of something. For some people it may open like this, for others it may not open like this but just show the image icons. You take note of the extension. I have JPEG, PSD and TIFF, but all of them are the same name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will explain more in the future lessons the difference between JPEG, PSD and TIFF, or why not, I'll give it as a research in this particular class. Okay, so let's just say I want to open by the JPEG. What is a JPEG file? A JPEG file is a normal file that has been snapped, that can be snapped by camera, a phone, whatsoever. So for those who are using Windows, the moment you click on the particular file, you would see it would show the information of the file JPEG. For the one of Photoshop, you will see something in front of it like PSD, telling you it's a Photoshop format, while a TIFF tool will also show like a normal JPEG file. So I'll just click on the file I want to open and I click on open. Now take note, my Photoshop runs on Camera Raw filter. Some people, their own may not open like this. It will just show directly on the screen, but this is a setting I made. You remember from the preferences I taught on the lesson, I think it was lesson 2. So it opens like this to ask me if I want to do any correction there. I don't want to do any correction. I just click on open image, and there you have the image in front of me. So that's the first way of opening an image. The second way, you can still use a shortcut key to open this image without necessarily going to file. Shortcut key to open this image for Mac is Command Open, Command O, not 0, Command O. While for Windows is Control O. So you hold Control O and this comes up. You can still click and open it. That is a shortcut key to open the document. Now, the second way to open a document in Photoshop, let me just close the document, is by going directly to my file. Let's say this is my file. I search for the folder exercise files where I kept it. Only you know where you downloaded yours and kept. Exercise file, and this is it here, right? Now I can right click on the JPEG and you see open. Even in Windows it has it. I go down to open with, and when I go down to open with, you will see preview and all the other applications here. I'll pick Adobe Photoshop. For those who reach in this level and they don't see Photoshop around here, what do you want to do? You go down to the bottom and you pick order. When you pick order now, it will show you all your computer application, and when it shows all your computer application, you can then tick on Photoshop and you then open with Photoshop. But in my case, it shows already, so I'll just go to open with Adobe Photoshop, and again it opens the same way. So that's the second way of opening this JPEG file in Photoshop, or any other file, be it the PSD file that I wanted to open. I will still go to open and click on PSD and open. I'll click on PSD and open. Be it the TIFF file that I wanted to open, I'll still go there and open the TIFF file. So that is it. Now there is another way to open file in Photoshop. That is the second way. This one now deals just with a PSD file. For example, let me say I've closed all these files. I closed everything, and I closed even my Photoshop, and I want to open a PSD file directly in Photoshop without necessarily opening Photoshop. I can just come. The moment you double click on a PSD file, this happens. So this option is only for a PSD file. The moment you double click on a PSD file, or you can still right click and say open with. Why not? You could do it with all of them. I even forgot. Let's Photoshop is closed. I could right click in any one of them, PSD, JPEG, TIFF, and go down to open with and choose Photoshop, and there Photoshop comes open. So that's another way. Now the last way to open a file in Photoshop is by still going to File. For those who installed the genuine Adobe Photoshop CS6, directly under Open, you will see Browse in Bridge. Browse in Bridge. So if I click on Browse in Bridge, when you install Photoshop this particular format, there is Adobe Bridge that is also installed alongside it. So now I'm going to wait for the bridge to open, and this is Adobe Bridge. What is the function of this Adobe Bridge? It just functions as an application that can easily integrate all your files to Photoshop, even though I don't use it too much, but that is its function. I hardly use it. So if I come on Browsing Bridge, I want to go to Folders, and want to look for my hard drive, or the second hard drive, pardon. Again, only you know where you saved yours. I go to my second hard drive. I search for exercise files. Exercise files, when it opens, I can just come here and roll down and go to images, and you see the images have been opened, right? So any file you click here, you double click on it, it opens directly on Photoshop, you see. So any file you double click on Bridge, on Adobe Bridge, any file I should double click here will open directly on Photoshop. Be it this one, it will come directly on Photoshop. Any file that I open that I double click on Bridge, because Bridge is connected to Photoshop. Anything I double click on Photoshop on Bridge that concerns image will open on Photoshop automatically. So that's the last way to open image in Photoshop. Okay, to explain to you why my own JPEG, when I click on open and my JPEG opens this way, whereas yours does not open like this, right? Like this, is simply because I have this setting here. When I go to File, you will see Open as Smart Object. I've set it already by default. I love my images to pass by Smart Object, because when it pass by Smart Object, I can do some small editing before working on them. But if yours is not like that, it's okay. In the future, you get to better customize your Photoshop for your performance. By then you must have known how to use it well. So if I click on Open as Smart Object, you take note that it still opens like this, right? So even if I click on the TIFF file now and I click on Open, the TIFF file opens like this. Why? Because it is not a JPEG. JPEGs don't open as Smart Object. The only files that open as Smart Object are sorry, it is not a JPEG. Only JPEGs open on a Smart Object. TIFF and any other one is only JPEG and I think PNG, which opens on Smart Object, but the rest don't open. So I'll go to Open as Smart Object. and I pick the JPEG and I click open. So you see it has to open from camera raw filter, that is open it as matte object. Before I can now validate, okay, it goes to my dashboard. The last thing there that I forgot was, if you have been opening images recently on Photoshop, I told you Photoshop has a temporal memory that keeps activities you have been doing on it. If you come down, you see open recent. If I hover to open recent, these are all the files that I've been opening in Photoshop for some time now. I think they are about 10. So I could just click on any one of them that I've recently been opening, and it opens directly here without necessarily going to the file again. So Photoshop will just automatically track it and opens it for me. Alright, that is that for this video. See you on the next video. Before I close this, I want to give you a research project, and I need everyone to deposit their answer, be it commenting it on YouTube, or better still, sending it in the Telegram group or channel. I want you to find me the meaning of PSD, JPEG, TIFF, PDF, PNG, JPEG, TIFF, PDF, and PSD. Those 5 extensions. I want you to find me their full meanings, be it in French or English.